as usual, Yoeleo did a really good job at packaging and shipping it out. So that's keep the foam in the box if you've got space to do so. I've got a bit of space, so I'll keep it for a while, otherwise just recycle it. So now here's the R6. It's still going. I still ride it. It's a bit dirty. Haven't cleaned it since the last ride. It's done about 11,500 kilometres now, still going strong. After the R6 there was the R9, and now of course this is the new one. We just got the R12. So let's have a look. Now it's all about integrating your cables nowadays, isn't it? Almost every new top of the line road bike especially all comes with your cables concealed inside your handlebars and then in through your stem and down your head tube and all that sort of thing. So it looks like there's no cables at all. Of course there's a little bit sticking out the back for your hydraulic, out your back for your rear derailleur if you've got mechanical or you've got electrical. They can hide it with electronics sometimes, or even then they've got a little bit hanging out, and of course your hydraulic at the front. Now Yoeleo have also got an integrated handlebar, so what you do is your cables come through here, through your head stem and out into your head tube. Of course that's what the R12 is all about too, integrating your cables. So we'll talk about that later on. This is a Yoeleo bar, it's very nice, all carbon and the cables run through. So we'll do a separate video on how to put your cables through and review these handlebars. But onto the frame itself, the R12. So here it is in all its glory. It's a bit plainer looking, a bit more, what is your conservative than the R6. The R6 had that S-bend and a seat tube, this one's straight, and the decals are not as fancy. What else is there? There's a few differences. These stays come up here halfway, whereas these ones go almost like up the top, a bit like the old GT. Remember GT bikes used to come up here, the triple triangle we used to call it. So very similar to that, except it hasn't got the open bit. But anyhow, so that's it there. Now you're going to say, why Yoeleo is pushing Yoeleo again? Well, you know, do your own research, have a look up Yoeleo online, and you'll see that nothing but praise online, mostly for Yoeleo products. And that's because they're good, reliable products, good price, and they're very good service as well. So now you can get cheaper Chinese frames on the market. You can go on AliExpress and there's plenty of all sorts of stuff on there. But if you're going to be buying something from a seller you don't know much about, who may not have been around for a while, so you're going to be gambling with your time and your money, because what if something's wrong with the frame when you get it and you have to send it back? If you can send it back, and it's going to take a long time, cost you a lot of postage. Otherwise you're going to have to somehow arrange to get another frame. All that hassle. Just go for something you know is going to be good. Yoeleo have that good reputation. Even Handbeanie talk about Yoeleo products being very good with their tolerances and the way they're manufactured. So now there's another reason as well. Parts. Now if you need any parts for your frame, rear hanger, front hanger, seat pole, bolt and clamp system here, little inserts for where your cables come in and out there, whatever it is, Yoeleo have got them for you if you need any in the future. I've never needed any parts for this thing, 11,000 kilometres I've done. So, but anyway, it's nice to know that they're there. With the paint job, this one is just a plain metallic red. It's got a nice metallic fleck to it, if you see it in the right light. But they've got different colours, of course, stock colours. But if you've got your own customised design you want to do, then send Yoeleo pictures and whatnot. Collaborate with them and they can come up with something for you. They've also got some fancy ones where you look at the frame at different angles and the paintwork changes colour. Well, I'm not into that, but if you are, well, that's available too. And of course, Yoeleo will also build a complete bike for you. So if you like the R12, all you need to do then is pick out your component, your group you want, the wheels you want, maybe some pedals, the seat, handlebars, a few bits and pieces like that, tyres, tubes and that. And then Yoeleo will build it up as you want. Assemble it all in China, ship it out as a bike. All you have to do is pull it out the box, put a few things together and off you ride. So if you're not into building up your own, you want it as a complete bike, although I can do that as well. So first of all, let's have a look what weight we've got. Strap this little thing on, zero it, and we've got 1.25. And the fork is 400 grams. Frame and forks are made from Toray 800 carbon fibre and they fit 28C tyres. And for your weight weenies, the seat post, 0.25. And the integrated handlebars, 0.4. Now, looking at the frame closer, I would say overall it's not as aerodynamic, and I'm not an expert on this, but just looking at it, this seat tube here is not teardrop shaped. This one has a true teardrop. Starts off round and goes to a point. Same with the seat post, very pointy at the back. This one is truncated, so it means it starts off round, goes slightly aero, but then is cut off at the back. It's nowhere near like a point. So in that respect, I would say it's not as aerodynamic, or it certainly doesn't look as aerodynamic as that one. So, but the rest is pretty much the same. The fork profile at the front is exactly the same, and the big head tube and all this tube doesn't really matter aerodynamics so much. And this one here comes up halfway, but of course this one comes up all the way. Now, other aspects. Of course we've got that gigantic head tube, and of course we've got that because your cables come through your handlebars and go down there. So it has to be big for all your cable routing in through the frame there. So that being big also adds to the stiffness of the frame. This top tube is different than the old one. It actually goes from normal size there, goes to a gigantic size here, onto the gigantic head tube, which joins another gigantic diagonal tube there going down. We've got that little bit here, which is interesting, and then your bottle cage just on there. So gigantic indeed. That adds to the stiffness of the frame. Now if this is anything like the old R6, it is extremely stiff indeed. They've also gone to a little tang at the back of the fork crown here, which matches in nicely with the frame. You can see that there. Very well done. Very close, only about 1.5 millimeter, something like that. Very well made, very well done. The old one hasn't got that little tang at the back. Nice and close though. But this one, I would say that's an improvement. Looks really cool. With the bottom bracket area, all these big tubes come in and make a big chunky bottom bracket area. All adds to the stiffness of the frame. Now this is a BB386, so there's no sleeve inside. It's just pure carbon, molded around carbon for that BB386 press-in bottom bracket. There's your cable running underneath as well. Looking at it this way, you can see the carbon fibre. They've flanged it out either side. And a bit different than the old R6, which was just straight, there was no flange, and it had a screw-in bottom bracket. This one's obviously got a larger diameter here, but there's no sleeve in there, so it relies on your bottom bracket insert. So you've got to make sure you get a good bottom bracket. We'll talk about that later. The decals, any decals there are under the clear coat, so it's nice and smooth. You can hardly feel it. You can feel it a little bit, but as Yoeleo does with all their products, it's under the clear coat. Even on their wheels, the same thing. So it's not exactly going to rub off easily. 2 water bottle cage mounts, one there, of course, and one there. Very nicely done. And if it's anything like the old R6, nothing's ever come loose, so very well done. Now, there's no chainstay protector on there, so when your chain goes flapping around, it's going to chip into that paintwork there, which is not good. The old R6 has got a thick plastic chainstay protector. It's clear, you can't see it, but it's certainly there. When you look up closely, you can feel it. So that was okay there, but this one hasn't got it. So why Yoeleo haven't got a chainstay protector on there? Naughty, naughty. Of course, there's going to have to be an aftermarket, so you have to go out and buy one. The mounts for your brake calipers accommodate 140mm rotors, front and rear. If you want to change that, you'll have to get some sort of an adaptation. But 140s, I've had no problem with them. Plenty strong enough, of course. It's disc brakes we're talking about. So again, nicely done, nicely put into the frame there. With the front brake hydraulic hose, it comes out here mid-fork and comes out onto your caliper. And the rear one, if you can see, it comes out there, and of course goes to there. And this is removable. You can take this out like that to get your cable through. Good seat post to frame interfacing tolerance, so it's not too sloppy when that's undone. It's nice. So that's very well done. And at the back of the seat post, you've got markings there for your height of your seat post. Very handy. Of course, you've got a replaceable rear hanger, Allen key there, but you can also replace your front derailleur hanger. And nice touch on the front fork, you can replace the thread there. There's a little drop out there. You can undo that and replace that as well with an Allen key. Nice touch, Yoeleo. So if you have any problems with your through axle thread, you can replace both your rear and your front there on your through axle. And these are the through axles that come with the frame, 6mm Allen key, and you don't need any of those ugly handles hanging off, just nice flush aero looking bolt heads like that sticking out your frame, nice. Now I did have one problem with the rear dropout, in that when I put the through axle in and tried to screw it in, it wouldn't quite go in, and if I did start it, it was very, very tight. So I had to loosen this little screw off here on the rear dropout, and then it would go in. But then of course, when you do that, it left the rear dropout loose. Now your frame will come with 2 dropouts anyhow, you'll get a spare. Now that's how they look when they're new. Now with the one, to make that through axle fit, I had to file some away, and that's what it looks like there. So that's the new, and that's the filed away one. So now the through axle fits. When I put the dropout in properly, I'll just show you. And it now fits in all the way. So I just had to file a little bit off of that dropout on there, which is not, you shouldn't have to do that, but anyhow, that's a little discrepancy I had with this frame. Now the seat mounting system for the rails on your seat is exactly the same as the old R6 seat post, just that the shape of the seat post itself is a little bit different. Now, I personally am not too much in favour of it. It's a bit ugly, but nevertheless it gives a huge amount of fore and aft adjustment on your seat there, and it's rock solid. Now, a closer look at some of the other aspects of a frame which tells its quality is if you get a cheap Chinese frame, sometimes you get little things that go wrong. For instance, the bottle cage threaded rivets, these are threaded rivets. If one comes loose, then you're going to have a loose water bottle cage. If 2 or more come loose, then you're going to definitely have trouble. So you want to make sure the rivets are well into the frame. So something that Yoeleo does not have a problem with, or I've never seen one have a problem, or never heard of one having a problem. Front derailleur here as well is removable. So there are bolts, again threaded rivets into the frame. So you want to make sure they're done properly as well. And your caliper mounts, very important, your hydraulic brake caliper mounts here. They're threaded here into the frame, and on your fork there, same thing. You've got threads in there. They're aluminium insert into the carbon. You do not want them to come loose. Or another thing that happens is sometimes you can strip the thread on the cheap frames as well. You don't want those hassles. So that's the advantage of having something that's reliable, that you can trust. Now, of course, you've got other things like your headset as well. Your bearings, they're going to be quite heavy because they've got steel inner and outer races, and they're quite big bearings. Whereas the headset parts are aluminium themselves, very light, so that's fine, that's good. Then with your handlebars, you've got a little sleeve that goes inside, which is really good. That's stainless steel, but it's still very light. So that goes in there, so you can add that weight, probably about 15 grams. Add that to the weight of your handlebars if you want to. Your through axles, they're aluminium, little brass washers on the end. They're very light as well. With the integrated cables, especially, you've got holes drilled in your frame and your forks. Now the new one is on the here on the fork steerer. So that's where your cable comes out through your frame and into the fork, and then comes out on, where is it? There it is there. So this little piece here is different than on your normal carbon forks. Now what Yoeleo have done, I don't know if you can see it, but this is square around here. So they've got an insert, they've cut the square, they've put the insert in there, which has got a pre-drilled hole, and then they've layered it, glued it in there and layered the carbon around, done a nice job. And that white stuff here is some resin here just to give it the shape. So they've done a good job there. That should be reliable as well. Your bottom bracket here, it's not just a hole that's drilled through the carbon frame, there's separate holes on either side that's had to be formed into that frame, into that shape. So sometimes with the cheaper frames, often actually, you can get them malaligned, and that'll cause all sorts of trouble. So you need to make sure those holes are exactly aligned. Now we'll do that in a future video. We've got a bottom bracket ready, and we'll show the fitting of the bottom bracket. One way to tell is when you put your bottom bracket in, it should go in fairly easily. And more importantly, when you put your crank through, the axle should just slip through quite nicely. When you tap it in, should with your hand, bang, bang, it should just go through nicely. None of this getting a mallet and bashing it in. Otherwise, it means it's a malalignment somewhere along the line. And when that crank's in there, that should spin nicely as well. So very important, have these two holes here lined up exactly. Another issue not often talked about is water ingress. Yes, water getting inside your frame. Back in the old days, you used to have cutouts in your bottom bracket where it aerated the area. The water usually goes down to your bottom bracket area, it's the lowest point, and then it dries out, drips out, and then aerates through there, evaporates through your bottom bracket. On carbon fibre, quite often they're sealed up, and this area here is sealed up indeed. So what you want to have is some way of protecting water going in. Now, one place that water really does get in is runs down your seat post, because if you get water flicking up from your rear wheel onto your seat post and down here, and water will find its way along your seat post and goes down in here. So it's important to have this area sealed up, and I've seen on the Yoeleo up here, which I'll show you a picture of, it looks like a hole there, so that's not very well sealed. Even the canyon is not very well sealed. In the old days, they used to have a clamp, remember, the round seat post with the round tube on your frame, and then you'd clamp that with a pinch bolt. Well, that was fairly well sealed, not too bad. You still get water down there, but nowhere near as much as with the new design for these funny shaped seat posts and frame arrangements. So very important to keep this area away, sealed up from water. And what they've done here with Yoeleo, they've got this little silicone sleeve here like that, and so when you put your seat post in, it forms a seal there. May not be 100%, of course we'll test it out, see how it is, but it fits nice and snug on the seat post, so hopefully that will do the job. With your fork steerer itself, you've got a plug on top, so you shouldn't get water in there, but nevertheless I have seen some with small amounts of water in the steerer. Now if water goes down your steerer, it's going to sit there. Why? Because it's not going to come out. See at the bottom here on the crown, it's blocked. A lot of the carbon forks, there's no aeration hole at all. It's all blocked like that. It's all sealed up. So you don't want water getting down your steerer, sitting in there. It's going to sit there for a long time. Chances are your carbon fibre may absorb the water inside your fork steerer, and you don't want that. So make sure that you've got a good cap system and that water can't get down into your steerer tube as well. With the fork steerer, just looking at physically, there's no irregularities. I can't see any anyhow. In the thickness of the wall of the steerer here, it looks very round and it's very well done. Nice and smooth there, and even inside here there's no imperfections. So that should be reliable as well. Now having a look at the specifications, sizes come in 43 to 59. Please don't ask me what size frame for your particular height, because everyone rides a bit different. For me personally, I ride a 56 centimetre and I'm 183 centimetres tall. Integrated handlebar width comes in 38 to 44 millimetre, and don't forget also your head stem is attached, so you need these two sizes. The stem comes in 90, 100, 110 and 120. Frame material, colours, weave. Now the group set here, they've got machine and Di2. What they mean is machine is supposed to be mechanical, so it can be either mechanical or Di2 compatible. Then you've got your BB386, that's your bottom bracket standard that it accepts. Replaceable rear hanger, you get one on the frame and a spare. Going down to tyre size, up to 28C tyre width on this frame and fork. Now down to the frame weight, they've got 1060 grams. Now that's for a 54 centimetre size frame. So the 56 that I've been showing you is 1250 grams. Down here they're saying you get a headset, which of course includes your bearings, and a 5mm and a 10mm spacer. Of course if you want to slam your stem, then you just don't use the spacers at all. And you also get your front and rear through axles. And then finally a 3-year warranty, which I've never heard anyone have any problems with the frame and fork from Yoeleo yet. And finally to the price, it looks like they've got a special $180 off, so that's good. And don't forget too that the handlebars and head stem you don't have to buy separate, they come with it.
Well, that's it for the unboxing of the new Yoeleo R12 frame and fork. Very nice indeed. And what we're going to do is strip down the old R6 and put all those parts directly on to the R12 here. So they're pretty much all compatible except for the handlebars, and that won't need them because it's integrated system, already got that ready. So now the next video, of course, next thing is your bottom bracket installation. Very important. I've already got the new bottom bracket. Here it is, the BB386, ready to go in. So I'm going to do a separate video on how to do your bottom bracket because it's very, very important how to put a bottom bracket in.
So we'll do that as the next video, so we'll see you for that.